earlier this week, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene held a rally in Washington, D.C. Now, you may not have heard about it because nobody showed up and nobody covered it. I kid you not. Literally like 12 people showed up. And that's, not including the speakers. I don't understand that there were such big names there. There's Moms for Liberty, representatives from that group. You had members of the Heritage Foundation. You had detransitioned media pundit Chloe Cole, James Lindsay, Alex Stein, and of course, Marjorie Greene herself. If you're not familiar with most of those people, I actually envy you because, again, knowing that these people exist and knowing the things that they say and what they're trying to do, I mean, again, it would be better off to not ever have heard of them before. But anyway, they're some of the worst people in the world. In fact, Alex Stein, he's the so-called comedian that was sexually harassing AOC. Oh, but you don't understand, it's comedy, man. Oh, it's comedy. Yeah, talking about somebody's physical features. Yeah. And just yelling like a crazy person outside of outside of Congress. Yeah. Conservative comedy. Like they only have one joke, and the rest is just like being obnoxious. But okay, all right. Now that said, the people there, they had signs. Some of them said things like, "Children cannot consent to puberty blockers. Gender ideology does not belong in schools." And even signs that define the words mom and dad as a, quote, human parent who protects kids from gender ideology. As if that is the biggest thing facing young people today. Not climate change. Nothing like that. Not ecological collapse, not economic collapse. No. Gender ideology. Yes, of course. So, now look, what the hell is gender ideology? Gender is a social construct. And since it is a construct created by human beings, it can be changed to reflect personal identity. I don't quite understand how this is complicated. For example, my gender expression is male, and that matches up with my biology, right? So that would make me a cisgendered male. It's pretty easy, right? You just have to have an open mind. You have to understand, like, oh, okay, that's what that means. Now, for some people, they do not express their gender the same way that I do, and that's fine. So, they will socially and physically transition into the expression that they are most comfortable with and identify with. And there's no problem there. Now, Greene also brought out her transphobic sign, the one that hangs in front of her congressional office, that falsely claims that there's two genders. Male and female, trust the science. But she's not even echoing science there at all. It's about as scientific as her space lasers. Oh, I don't believe in that anymore. Oh, I don't believe in that or QAnon or anything like that. I just fell into that on the internet. Yeah, what are the things have you fallen into in the internet? I'd love to hear about that. Maybe like everything you've ever learned happens to be wrong.
Internets.
Okay, anyway. Look, Greene, as I said, she brought out this sign. In a rebuke to the sign, of course, is science, who, is against what she says. Biology has actually proven the existence of numerous animals that can change gender, and that gender and sex are both more complicated than the binaries. Because the gender binary is not scientific. In fact, man, woman, masculine, feminine are neither biological terms nor are rooted exclusively in biology. And because biological sex is far more complicated than just XX and XY, or XXY, or just X, XX individuals could present with male, to get technical here, gonads. XY individuals can have ovaries. And again, not to get to dive into the actual scientific discussions of brain structures, hormones, and fetal development, because again, we'd be here all day. But I'll just get to the point. Sex is not a binary. Transgender people are real and they are valid. And no stupid sign is going to prove otherwise. And the reason that science disagrees with conservatives is not because it's suddenly woke, right? The woke universities. The wokers. No, it's because, well, science is complicated. Human beings are actually very amazing and amazingly complicated, as is life, as is the universe, as is everything. It is not simple, and I know conservatives like a simple world. Now, if you're uncomfortable with things being complicated, sad day for you. Now, if you don't understand it because of the complications, I get it, fine. But don't be like these people and stop trying to go around and make trans people's lives worse. These chuds, don't be like these chuds, okay? Now, that said, they claim that people are pushing policies designed to have minors get access to puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and sex reassignment surgeries. So here's the thing, though. There's no policies that are pushing that on minors. For example, they do not get gender-affirming treatment unless they need it. And surgeries themselves are not conducted on minors. Look, if little Billy's a boy, feels like a boy, wants to stay a boy, there's nobody out there that's saying little Billy should be a girl. No, that's not what's happening. That's what they believe is happening, I swear. I mean, they think that people in the LGBTQ community or, Democratic politicians want to take little boys and trans them. That's not what's happening. But what's funny about this is that this is projection. That's why they're always talking about grooming, indoctrination. In reality, they want to take children and indoctrinate them into their conservative beliefs, to be conservative Christian. Mom stays home, she cooks dinner, pops out a dozen kids while the man works, comes home, drinks a beer, watches football with the guys, and on Sunday they all go to church. Look, if you want to live your life that way, I got no problem with that. Do you, buddy? Have fun with that. I don't care. But their main problem is that a lot of the younger people now don't actually want that life. And even for the ones that do, by the way, that life is fairly unattainable due to socioeconomic conditions that have been created by the older generations. It's a bit ironic, right? But look, at the end of the day, the beliefs espoused by Marjorie Greene and her terrible friends, let's just say that about trans people, they're not shared by the majority of Americans. That's why during the midterms, all these anti-trans bills did not turn into a win when it came to the ballot box. And why you have these these rallies, these hate rallies, essentially, that only get about 12 people to show up. And so I guess, at the end of the day, the fact that it flopped so hard is a good sign for the future. The majority of the people do not have an appetite for her kind of hatred. Now, if only that could translate into politicians no longer targeting the LGBTQ community. And unfortunately, there's a long way to go on that front as they continue to double and triple down on their just horrific bills aimed at making trans people's lives worse.